Chris, super interesting this week. Bryce Young, the number one overall pick last year by the Carolina Panthers. He has been benched. And I'm wondering if you're Carolina, is Bryce Young, A, can he be fixed? B, if he is fixed, will it be in Carolina?
That's a good question. I think all of that's up in the air. I don't, from what I've seen to this point, there's nothing that makes me think, oh, wait, this could turn around or this is going to look a lot better, right? I give them credit for benching him. I do. I think the dysfunctional thing would have been to keep letting him play. Because the locker room would have been like, so obviously we're not going to try to win a game this year, huh? I mean, by all due accounts, anybody you talk to there, anything you read, whatever, it sounds like Andy Dalton outperformed him all spring and all training camp too. But he's the first pick, so they work with it. But when you watch film, I watched the film on Tuesday morning against the Chargers, the offense has lost hope. You could see it in their body language. You see it in the receivers. Its shoulders are shrugging and like, oh, man, I was open. He didn't throw it. He makes no plays. There's no pizzazz to him as a person anyways. He needs this to sit on the bench, regather himself to a degree, watch Andy Dalton, take a deep breath, try to get the game slowed down in your brain. But, yeah, as you heard me say during my quarterback rankings last year or when I was talking during the season last year, like too many games and moments where he looks totally overwhelmed. And that's what I think concerns me more than anything.
Sims, real quick, back to Bryce Young for a second, because Baker came out and he defended him and said, his story is not done here.
Yeah.
We see someone like CJ Stroud who comes in and he sets the league on fire. He's the real deal, obviously. He's great. We're only 2 weeks in. Caleb hasn't looked great. Bo Nix hasn't looked great. Jaden Daniels hasn't looked great. Then you see guys like Jordan Love. You see guys like Michael Penix who are drafted and they're not started right away. Does it take like a special person? I guess, is there a difference when you're evaluating talent coming out of college and you say, this is someone that's going to start right away and this is someone that's has the talent but needs to kind of wait a couple years and kind of figure it out beforehand? And is CJ Stroud, I guess, in that category? Like, can he be fixed sitting behind someone else and watching and learning?
So who be fixed? You mean Bryce Young?
Yeah, sorry, Bryce Young.
Sorry,
Bryce
Young
so
Chris, I've always maintained. I've always
Yeah.
maintained if you're a great quarterback, you'll make any situation great. Meaning, if CJ Stroud was the guy drafted by Carolina, Carolina would they be good today? They'd be good. Like they'd be fine. They'd be fine.
They'd be
because
better,
they have CJ
right.
Stroud.
Well, you would be hearing me defend them like I did Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold's of the world, going, I see physical ability and things that I like. I see team that's not helping them, right? You don't hear me saying that about Bryce Young, right? I know the team's not good, but I also don't see anything from him that goes, I see something. He doesn't have help around him. That's where there's a difference, right? Drake May, to your point, Billy, is a guy I feel like, hey, he needed to sit out and maybe he gets the Jordan Love story, at some point where he gets in and he's got talent. He got to polish his game up a little bit. I did think Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and company and Jaden Daniels were the type that were ready to start right away. Now, their teams are not as good as Houston was, let alone, I would say, C.J. Stroud got the benefit of getting Bobby Slowick and an offensive coordinator that is really special to start his career, where I'd go, Caleb, I like his talent, but they can't block up front. They can't run the ball. And their offense it's elementary. I mean, I'm sitting there on Sunday night watching it with all the NBC cameras everywhere. I could see everything, right? I got Skycam all game long. The plays are so simple. It's like nobody's going to do good in that. That's just not going to work. Jaden Daniels has been the best so far, but again, it doesn't blow you out of the water, and I worry about them having to carry him or him having to carry them too much. Bo Nix, a little the same thing of they can't run the ball. Who are you scared of at receiver, right? And, of course, he's played some defenses in Seattle and Pittsburgh that are like, I wouldn't want to start my career against those two. But I think that's what I look at, and I try to decipher, and that's why I try to be that guy sometimes that goes, hey, wait, this guy's pretty good here. But just there's some things around him that don't make sense. With Bryce Young, I don't feel that way. I haven't seen enough there to make me think, hey, he'll be okay if he goes somewhere else and does something else. I don't know about that, but hopefully this time on the bench can help him out, Billy.
Do you think someone like Mike McDaniel, because a lot of people are saying with Tua now out for 4 games on the IR, we have no idea what his future is going to be. Do you think someone like Mike McDaniel could fix Bryce Young?
Yeah, well, yes, he could definitely fix them. But this goes into the other part of the things you hear me say all the time. Everybody's going to look good in Miami. Everybody. But is Bryce Young going to look good? Just like I would question Tua, and I'm not trying to be insensitive here, and I hope I never want bad things for anybody.
We know. Yep.
But my thing is, just like what we saw the other night. Oh, it's a defense again. They know how to defend McDaniel's tricks, and if it's not a wide open just track show. Okay, Bryce Young, I'm going to have the same questions I have with Tua. The game gets tough. You got to throw the ball in the tight windows. Can he do that? I don't know if he can. I have not seen enough there yet. So he looked better in Miami, but I mean, I would be scared to trade any real assets for Bryce Young at this point. I would want to see more altogether.